The birth of a sculpture, the making of a sculpture, the constitution of something that we can call a sculpture. Everything is a sculpture. Everything that you can perceive is a sculpture, which means that when you think the process of sculpting is appearing as perceivable phenomena in your mind or in your brain. So playing around with language in our own minds when we think is a kind of witnessing sculpture appearing in the world, in the mind. I mean, every thought is a sculpture. Every word is a sculpture. Every piece of ass is a sculpture. What I was about to say is that every piece of space is a sculpture. I mean, everything is a sculpture. Of course, we don't have to go to a gallery or to a museum to see art, because 50 years ago we all understood that art is dead, in the way that art is just something that is perceived as art. So art is more the context. Art is the context in which we perceive something. Because if you put a photograph in a museum, you will approach it as a work of art. If you put it in your bedroom, it's just a memory and just a visual representation of something. So art is about context, which means art is about perspective, which means that art is about approach. And this approach is simply just acknowledging the fact that everything is sculpture. We can see sculpture everywhere, of course, in the world, because the world is a sculpture. And the mind, the human mind, constitutes the sculptures that we see. The brain delivers us the possibility to perceive everything in a visual way, in a three-dimensional visual way. And so that is the birth of a sculpture. The birth of a sculpture is the fact that we're able to see visual phenomena in the world. But so the point here is just that even thinking could be seen as sculpture too. When we play around with language in our minds, we are in the process of sculptures appearing in the world or in the mind. What's the difference between the world and the mind, you could say? Well, the world is a product of the way that the brain delivers the world to you. So, I mean, in a way, the world is the mind, because it's a virtual reality. The world is a virtual reality because we see the world in the way that it is given to us by our perception system, by the apparatus of the human program, which means the perception in the brain that constitutes and delivers everything that we see, everything that we perceive. So we are living inside a machine that we cannot see, and that machine is the human program. We are living inside a machine that we cannot see, and that machine is delivering the world to us as we see it. And everything in that world, or in that movie, or in that performance, is a sculpture. We can see it as sculpture. Or whatever, it could be whatever it is. But the point is just simply to bring some awareness to what sculpture can be, because sculpture can be anything. Sculpture can be the way that a human hand moves in space in relationship to the body that gives birth to the hand itself. I mean, everything we see is a sculpture. Thinking is a sculpture. The world as we see it is a sculpture. simply because it is phenomenon. And every phenomenon is a sculpture. However we see it. Well, never mind. But everything that we see can be seen or approached as a sculpture because it's a wave, right? It's a brain wave, or it is a wave. It's a wave of light. It's photons. It's a wave of light. So it's particles and light. And what is a sculpture? Of course, a sculpture is particles and light. That's what a sculpture is. A sculpture is particles and light. A sculpture is the particles that constitutes the sculpture, and it becomes a sculpture because of the light that the human program can deliver to a perception. So that's how sculpture is born. Everything is a sculpture. Everything is thought. Everything is mind. Everything is particle. Everything is wave. Everything is quantum mechanics, right? Everything is quantum mechanics, and as it is interpreted within the human program. All right, that was just a little something on sculpture. Thank you.